Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone. So we're just out for a morning walk, and we found Trafalgar Square beautifully empty, but majestic. And we thought, let's do a reading here next to the fountains.
Yeah, because it's so conducive to sound.
Yeah, Jaidev Prabhu, we apologize. There's a lot of background noise here.
If you can hear us, Jaidev Prabhu, we're sorry.
Yeah, but it's a nice place to read, beautiful background, and we do have the mic on, and we are talking loud, so hopefully it'll be okay, everyone can hear us. So we're just going to read maybe for about 15 minutes. And
because everyone's looking at us.
Where are we reading from?
Canto 3, chapter 14, text 17.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Chapter, verse 17.
It's a chapter title.
Pregnancy of deity in the evening.
Okay.
O afflicted one, I shall forthwith gratify whatever desire is dear to you, for who else but you is the source of the three perfections of liberation? Purport. The three perfections of liberation are religion. Someone put some music on. The three perfections of liberation are religiosity, economic development, and sense gratification. For a conditioned soul, the wife is considered to be the source of liberation, because she offers her service to the husband for his ultimate liberation. This word liberation is used a lot, isn't it? Conditional material existence is based on sense gratification, and if someone has the good fortune to get a good wife, he is helped by the wife in all respects, especially if they listen.
The wife, if the wife listens, it's good.
If one is disturbed in his conditional life, he becomes more and more entangled in material contamination. A faithful wife is supposed to cooperate with her husband in fulfilling all material desires, so that he can then become comfortable and execute spiritual activities for the perfection of life. If, however, the husband is progressive in spiritual advancement, the wife undoubtedly shares in his activities, and thus both the wife and the husband profit in spiritual perfection.
Haribol, Haribol.
It is essential, therefore, that girls as well as boys be trained to discharge spiritual duties, so that at the time of cooperation, both will be benefited. The training of the boy is brahmacharya, and the training of the girl is chastity. A faithful wife and spiritually trained brahmachari are a good combination for advancement of the human mission.
Yeah, I don't think that means while the person is in the brahmachari ashram, right?
Definitely doesn't. Sometimes people term this coin brahmachari grihastas. Now you should have stayed at home then.
Should have what?
You should have stayed at home. You know. Anyway, he's English, but he's not English, but no, each ashram has its purpose. So don't, it's like adding mustard onto cheesecake. It just don't work. So don't do it.
Okay, so there's a lot of powerful things in this purport. One is that a good wife is beneficial for spiritual life.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
Is a real boost for the Grihastha ashram.
Yeah.
And it means that then she is meant to help to make the circumstances comfortable, I think Prabhupada said, right? Yeah. Yeah, so that the man can become comfortable to execute spiritual activities. He also mentions at the end that it's not that the woman doesn't, perform spiritual activities. It's best that both of them do. For the man, it's brahmacharya, and for the wife, it's chastity. And this is a good combination so that basically, they can make spiritual progress together. Any thoughts?
Yeah.
Apart from mustard on cheesecake?
No, yeah, it's all, sometimes you hear like this and people who are not mature use this the wrong way. They see the wife should be a good wife, the wife should assist the husband. Fair enough, but if the husband is not Ramachandra, then don't expect Sita Devi.
Okay, well, we're getting a lot of positive promotion from the missus today, so I think we'll move on to verse 18. Maybe it'll talk about how the wife should be super positive about everything. Okay, text 18. As one can cross over the ocean with sea-going vessels, one can cross the dangerous situation of material ocean by living with a wife.
Yeah.
So this is really powerful because a lot of times I think in days gone by of our movement, hopefully days gone by, but still there's residual fallout of that, I think, that the Grihastha ashram is actually regarded in a very negative manner.
Yeah.
Whereas we shouldn't forget that the first thing Srila Prabhupada did as a sannyasi was actually to get people married.
Yeah. I was laughing because that boy was running and he was looking at the camera.
Yeah, so he got people married rather than just
staying single.
Making only sannyasis, which he did later.
Yeah.
And then even before the brahmacharya ashram, first thing he did was to get couples married. Of course, that's because they were already mixing.
Yeah.
And he thought, well, this should be done at least under religious values. But it's interesting that the first ashram, really, in one sense you could say that Prabhupada established, I guess you could argue that he had men living in a certain place together, so maybe it's brahmacharya and then grihastha, like that, and then sannyas. So anyway, the purport. There are 4 social orders for cooperation in the endeavor for liberation from material existence. The orders of brahmacharya, or pious student life, household life. My battery is going very quickly. So, I'm charging. Student life, household life with a wife, retired life, and renounced life all depend for successful advancement on the householder who lives with a wife. We were just talking about this yesterday with Radharaman Prabhu, how the Grihastha ashram is really the foundation that supports all the other ashrams. So if that ashram's not strong, then the whole Varna ashram system is built upon a weak foundation, right?
Yeah.
Then she keeps saying, yeah, we're cooking with gas. This cooperation is essential for the proper functioning, here it is, of the institution of the 4 social orders and the 4 spiritual orders of life. This Vedic Varnashram system is generally known as the caste system. The man who lives with a wife has a great responsibility in maintaining the members of the other social orders, the brahmacharis, vanaprasthas, and sannyasis. Except for the grihasthas or the householders, everyone is supposed to engage in the spiritual advancement of life. And therefore the brahmachari, the vanaprastha, and the sannyasi have very little time to earn a livelihood. Interesting point. They therefore collect alms from the grihasthas, and thus they secure the bare necessities of life and cultivate spiritual understanding. By helping the other 3 sections of society cultivate spiritual values, the householders also make spiritual advancement in spiritual life. So make advancement in spiritual life. Ultimately, every member of society automatically becomes spiritually advanced and easily crosses the ocean of nescience. What an amazingly wonderful and powerful purport. I love this. This is incredible. Any thoughts?
It really emphasizes cooperation. Because like you're saying something, especially previously, but still now I would say due to immaturity with anything, so some people may Brahmachari or Brahmachari, only way, and then looking down on maybe for most people is the next step, which is the Grihastha ashram. And then sometimes if, I'm in Vanapras, it could be, what does that mean? Are you like not getting on? Or what's going on? What's wrong with your marriage? Whatever, but definitely between the first two ashrams it can be a misunderstanding of its purpose and its values. So yeah, this is very powerful to read with people in groups and just dissect and learn,
Yeah, and amongst the Grihastas also, because sometimes there's this tendency in the Grihastha ashram that, it becomes so rigid, forgetting actually the dharma of the Grihastha is to look after the other ashrams and support them also. So from that perspective, the Grihastas should be supporting the Brahmacharis. The Grihastas should be supporting the Sannyasis and looking after the Vanaprasthas. And everyone benefits. Prabhupada's last line is so powerful. He says, ultimately every member of society automatically becomes spiritually advanced and easily crosses the ocean of nescience. By this cooperation and everyone performing their dharma or their spiritual duty according to their nature, but not only according to nature, that's more varna, but according to their nature in a specific period of time in their life. Right? So brahmacharis have to act according to their varna, grihastas their varna, but at a specific stage in life. So as things progress in the grihastha ashram, then you would move to vanaprastha. Once your children are grown, you have sort of grandchildren, your role changes, and then you should be focusing more on spiritual life, right? And then, of course, sannyas, but that's a different thing, a different discussion in one sense you could say. And of course in the Bhagavad Gita there's a place where Prabhupada explains that if you're actually in family life and it's Krishna conscious, then there's no need to move to sannyas. But in general the principle would be to move to sannyas also. So like that, then complete renunciation. Anyway, nice topics. Especially considering tomorrow I'll be involved in a conversation with His Holiness Srila Shivaram Swami on the topic of Varnashram. Powerful. Of course, by the time you're watching this, that will have long passed. But you can go back and try to find it and have a listen to it if you like. Okay?
Text 19. A respectful one. A wife is so helpful that she is called the better half of a man's body. So that's the origin, I guess, of the term better half.
Yeah, yeah.
Because of her sharing in all auspicious activities. A man can move without anxiety, entrusting all responsibilities to his wife. Perfect. By the Vedic injunction, the wife is accepted as the better half of a man's body because she is supposed to be responsible for discharging half of the duties of the husband.
Right. Well, we're going to have to work out some apportionment here.
Yeah, right. Why not food in the water? I think it's good. Don't. It won't be nice.
So,
a family man has a responsibility to perform 5 kinds of sacrifices called Pancha Yajna in order to get relief from all kinds of unavoidable sinful reaction incurred in the course of his affairs.
Affairs means work, not affairs like with other women.
But we don't need a purport line by line. God. When a man becomes qualitatively like the cats and dogs, he forgets his duties in cultivating spiritual values, and thus he accepts his wife as a sense gratificatory agency. When the wife is accepted as a sense gratificatory agency, personal beauty is the main consideration, and as soon as there is a break in personal sense gratification, there is disruption or divorce.
There you go.
But when husband and wife aim at spiritual advancement by mutual cooperation, there is no consideration of personal beauty or the disruption of so-called love.
I'm lucky in that.
In the material world, there is no question of love. Marriage is considered a duty performed in mutual cooperation as directed in the authoritative scriptures for spiritual advancement. Therefore, marriage is essential in order to avoid the life of cats and dogs who are not meant for spiritual enlightenment.
Wow. Powerful, powerful. I love these purports. So amazing. Right?
Yeah.
That's great. Amazing. Wonderful thoughts.
Yeah, amazing.
Amazing. So lots of stuff there. The family man traditionally is meant to perform 5 kinds of sacrifice. Pancha Yajna. I remember looking at that and thinking, what were they? I did look them up at one point, but I can't remember what they are. But for us in Kali Yuga, the main yajna that we're meant to perform is the
Chanting the holy
Sankirtan
name.
yajna. Yes. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And but if a man, and it's interesting that Prabhupada mentions if the man, when a man becomes qualitatively like a cat or dog, because this is the tendency of men, they become more focused on sense gratification. Of course, women are also focused on sense gratification, but men, they get in their mind that they want, the most beautiful wife on the planet, they want this, and it's all just about the externals, it all becomes material. And this is the mentality of cats and dogs. And Prabhupada explains the degradation that occurs from this. If she's accepted as sense gratification only, then as soon as the first wrinkle comes, or she puts on a few pounds, or as soon as she's not as pleasing as he wanted, and of course when our focus is lust can never be satiated, so then there's going to be disappointment and anger. And then what happens? Divorce. Prabhupada would say, divorce. Divorce. Yes, so then it's like stupid. But Prabhupada says so expertly that when they aim at spiritual advancement by mutual cooperation, there is no consideration to the disruption of so-called love. He says in the material world there is no love. Marriage is actually a duty performed, and mutual cooperation is directed by the authoritative scriptures for spiritual advancement. I think that's really amazing. Wonderful purpose.
So a lot you can unpack and discuss,
Yeah.
You can do, very instructive.
Anyway, if you have any questions or comments or reflections, please put them in the comment section below, and we'll happily respond to you. Good stuff. We're going to continue on another day, though. What do you think?
Okay.
So, thank you. And again, Jai Dei Prabhu, we're really sorry if it was too much noise in the background. We'll try to reduce the background noise in the editing process.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, thank you all very much. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki.
Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.